All right, Jess, welcome to the podcast. This is so a little background information. Me and Jess don't really know each other as well, just because this is my sister's friend. But I thought you'd be perfect coming on the podcast because this is journal prompts. It's all deep questions, and that's kind of her lifestyle. So welcome on.
Thank you, Nick. This is so funny right now.
All right. So the random fact of the day. So your thumb is actually the same exact length as your nose. Yeah, try it out.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, I have to take my glasses.
Yeah, take your glasses off. I always wish we had cameras. Isn't that so weird?
Okay, I believe it. Where'd you get that one?
Internet. Imagine I was just like, I was just trying it out. All right. Anyway, so today we're gonna do something a little different. Today, we're gonna do a mini series. Well, I'm gonna start a mini series called "Working Things Out with," and then the person themselves. So, working things out with Jess today on trusting herself and getting out of her own way. So, once again, trusting herself and getting out of her own way. So, I'll give you guys a minute. If you guys want to skip ahead and I'll think about it, go ahead. But try to think about it for a minute and then hear our opinions on it. All right,
Let's
Jess.
do it.
So when I heard getting out of your own way, I was a little confused on what you actually meant. So what does that mean to you?
Wow. Getting out of my own way. So, yeah, like I feel like the mind takes us in so many directions.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like the part of my mind that's like, no, I don't think you could do that. And then the other part of my mind's like, fuck yeah, you can. And it like, and every day it's different and it comes in waves. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be listening to? Like, what am I supposed to be following?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I feel like to be grounded in myself and in my practice helps me to kind of listen to that more stable voice inside.
Do you feel like your mind is controlling you and you can't control your mind?
Some days, for sure.
Just because like you don't know which direction to go into. But like when you say that, how would you know which direction to go into? Like what would lead you down that path?
I think taking a moment to kind of check in with like my body and like what it's saying and also check in like with my intention and like what do I want like as a big picture,
like your interests.
Yeah, like my interests, my goals or my dreams.
Yeah, so like you're choosing what you want to do throughout that day just based off of your interest and like your big picture stuff.
Most often. Yeah, most often, but I also do have to, get things done.
I feel
life things and
yeah, life things sucks because there are so many interests. Like I just had a podcast. Literally the last one that I posted, it was, what would you do with your time if money was not an object? So like, yeah,
so many good things.
So like, there's so many things that I would do if money wasn't an object. Like my first thing was like I would just do physical activity all day. Like that's what I love to do. Like I would just be with my friends all the time and stuff like that. But life does get in the way. Like you have to make money. there's no way around that. So like to follow your interests like with your mind, like I know that you're huge on meditation. And by the way, she's going to do a meditation at the end, about 10 to 15 minutes at the end. So stay tuned for that. If you guys don't want to actually listen to the whole podcast, definitely just skip to the end. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Anyway, so when, like you're definitely gonna be like, oh, I want to wake up. I just want to meditate for like an hour or two, but I can't.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, but
I mean, sometimes I can. So if I wake up a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
if my day is not so crazy, but
it's extremely hard because like when you have other stuff to do,
yeah,
if you have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, like it's really tough to do that when your lifestyle. I'm sure that you have to do like classes at night, just like how kind of I do.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching yoga, you're doing meditation stuff. Like I went to one of your Wednesday classes, and like we didn't get out there until like 9:30, 10. And after you teach something, you have so much energy, and you can't fall asleep. Like then you want to work on yourself and stuff like that. So at that point, you don't want to wake up early and go through the motions of doing what you want to do when you're tired. So like I can understand your how you get in your way and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's definitely tough. So like how do you? All right, let's go to that second thing, like the trust. So like you have to trust yourself to get out of your own way. Like how would you do that?
So yeah, these are things that I'm working on. So
I know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely for me right now. It's been a little bit of progress. But really just how do I trust myself more?
It's tough.
Yeah, I think what gets me is that there's just I easily pick up on a lot of things that are happening around me. Mm-hmm. So like if someone's having a conversation, even has nothing to do with me, and it's something that I don't necessarily agree with, or I don't know, just something rubs me the wrong way. Like it sticks to me. And I get, so like for me, for instance, I feel like I get caught up in like things happening around me, and it could kind of sway me in different directions, and then like my center line, like me being rooted, is kind of off. And I'm not blaming on anything around me. It's more of like I'm getting more in touch with knowing like when to step away from situations, or like when I need more alone time. And I think that is helping me to learn about me and trust. And
did you get all of this through just meditation, or just like practiced over the years of just learning your body just through conversation and just living in general?
Yeah, from experiencing, from being in situations where, for being in multiple situations or over the years where I was like run down and like I was grouchy and cranky and not really being my like more vibrant, happy self. And I wasn't realizing that I didn't have my own space. I didn't have alone time, wasn't part of my life.
Oh, you were just like going.
Yeah, I was like going, hanging out here, being with a partner, or just always being around someone, because I am a people person. But I realize now so much more that like I love my alone time and space, and for anyone listening, like it's so essential for you to be comfortable with sitting with yourself, and I love it now. And I've always loved being by myself, but like now I realize I really love it.
No, it's super important. Like I definitely went through that phase. Like I talk about it a lot on this podcast, where I was at a point where I was just working, and then I would hang out with friends for a little bit, and then I would wake up, work out, do whatever I have to do, like push myself to the limit, because that's what I have to do and shit like that. And it does get annoying after a while, because like you do just want to chill out, and like I've definitely been chilling out a lot more than I used to, and now I'm chilling out just a little too much, and I definitely want to start doing more things. But it is really important to stay down for a second, because that's what you hear a lot from a lot of people when they have crazy ideas. They're like, oh, usually when I'm doing absolutely nothing, that's the best time when I get the most amazing ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear that, because when you're thinking all the time, like, your brain is just like, yo, we need a rest. We need to just chill out. We need to take in an information. I actually went to a Reiki session, and that was my problem. Yeah, I went to a Reiki session. You do Reiki, right? Yeah.
Reiki, healing.
Yeah, my Dan's therapist, she does it.
Oh, amazing.
And it was weird, because when she put her hand over my right shoulder, it was like a little off balance. She's like, the rest of your body is fine, but your right shoulder, there's something there that, like, the energy wasn't, like, flowing, like, you know how, like, it's like a circular motion, she was saying. She's like, it wasn't fully intact, but it was still there. And she's like, well, what do you think it is? Like, that's usually like a balance thing. And I was like, that's so weird, because, like, physically I'm able to balance, but usually in the past, like, week or two, my like balance of just taking things in, like, I feel like it's off and stuff like that. And she's like, it's definitely could be that. Like, it's strange, but, like, I felt off balance, like, my whole body, just from not taking in information as much. And you hear it a lot. Like I listen to a lot of people that you know, like Joe Rogan brought on different comedians, and they're like, I've been putting out way too much information and not taking in enough. Totally. And as a person who provides, like, as you definitely need to, like, put out more information. I mean, take in more information than putting it out, just so that you get, like, different ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and, like, in the same regard of taking in for yourself first.
Yeah. And
then giving back out from that point. So there's, like, and, like, this play with, like, giving and receiving.
Yeah, it's strange how it works, and it's so annoying. It, like, you don't get taught this stuff. You
oh my God! Don't even get me started.
Like,
with what to be taught.
Yeah, like, you just kind of have to know.
You learn. It's like school hasn't taught us. I'm happy. I know how to read and write, and, like, I could write. I don't know. I was writing yesterday, and I was just like, I'm happy and blessed that I was taught how to write, and now things flow literally through me, which is crazy. But I think back, and I'm like, coming out of school, I'm like, what did I don't have any life, I need more guidance. I'm like, I need that person to be like, this is how you do this, and this is life things, like a mentor. Like, came out of school 18 years old, like, what the F is happening?
Did you go to college or no?
Yeah, I went to college. I went to Oneonta for a year and a half, and then I was like, I had a big, like, what the fuck moment but it directed me in another path. Like, went through a little bit of depression, but it was just a way for me to get out of that situation and put me in another direction.
What was the what the fuck moment?
Oh, it was just like, I was like, okay, I can look back now. I feel like the sense of self at 19, 20 was so, like, what, like, who am I? Like, I think this is a question that on the spiritual path, this is the question that we'll always be exploring. But during that time, it was like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? And I felt like I had no, like, real sense of self. So I slowly felt myself, like, changing, and I was, like, getting sad, and I'm like, what's happening to me? And like some people in my family, like, have depression, like my grandma. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm getting this disease, or, like, I was, like, freaking out. But, like, I really was getting depressed. And so it was to the point where I had like a 3.8, a 3.6 GPA, and everything was fine. I did 3 semesters. I go into the 4th semester, and I was like, I can't fucking think straight. Like, I can't make decisions for myself. I'm so indecisive. And I was taking, like, 5-6 classes, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I left. And
yeah, you felt like a robot.
Oh my gosh, I felt like a robot, but I also felt like it was two different worlds. There was the college world, study all week, party on the weekend, and then like, but there was no like real connection to like the people I was interacting with. It was like, make out with some people on the weekends, but like, you see them in broad daylight, no one says hi to you. It's just like it was just weird, and like the connection, like like deep connection was just not there, and like I didn't know where to find it.
Yeah. Sorry. I felt like recently I've been like really figuring out human interaction because
Oh my gosh.
like I was explaining to you this before the podcast. Like I was never a speaker. Like I never talked to people, but for some reason I always felt like I could be a speaker in front of like a huge crowd. Like when I started in high school with the dialogue shit, you know how like they used to make you do Spanish dialogues in front of the class?
Oh yeah.
I was like, yo, I feel so natural up here. Like everyone's just looking at me. I'm just presenting something, and that's really it. Like that's it. And I was like, I feel like at some point in my life, I'll have a lot of knowledge where I could go on stage and just give it all to the crowd. Like that's what I want to do. I want to, like that mentor that you were talking about, like that's kind of the path I want to go down. I just want to share knowledge as much as I can and help people out and just give them everything that I can possibly give to improve their life. Like for instance, I could just say to them, hey, make sure you're taking in enough information and putting out enough information for that. But like, were you starting your spiritual journey at that point?
Trying to think when it was that. I think it was so no, I was a little bit I was in the environmental science club when I was in college in Oneonta.
Yeah.
But again, like there was that, like there was human interaction, but it was more like zest. Like let's hate on everyone that's not like taking care of the environment and not being a vegetarian. So there was like so that was like my like little bit of start to like spirituality, because there were some hippies and yogis there, but not until like the following year.
They were just hating on people?
They were just, and this like I'm like starting some environmental like really like eco-friendly stuff now, but I'm trying not to come at it in like an aggressive way, because I think like we're all in this together, and it's kind of it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, a lot of people just go out and they're like, you're so stupid for doing that. Why don't you do this? Like, you're killing the planet, instead of being like, hey, like, did you know that you using this all the time can pile up at some point, and, over thousands of years, it's not going to, like, actually go away. Like, it's plastic. Like, it's just going to stay there. Like, you should start using other things. But, like, people are very aggressive. And that's something that we're not taught either.
But the thing is, like, the aggression, like, that person's aggressive, but then, like, but they're also the one that's, like, contributing to it. And it's like, we're all contributing to it. But, like, I find, like, what I'm coming up with is, like, what if first off, when we heal ourselves, we are healing the planet. So I think that's the first thing that I'm going to be talking about when I work on that stuff, but like healing yourself is number one, and just like becoming more aware of who you are, and like what like, because that increases awareness, and then when you're aware of yourself, you're aware of like all the decisions you're making. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, can we not go to an extreme, and can we look at what we do in our life, and where can we cut down on like using plastic water bottles, and we can do some art projects and take all the plastic that we do have and create something, and like and just like shift the mindset, and instead of like shaming or guilting people, like let's all come together and realize that we're in it, and that we can actually have some fun with it too.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. When you see people that are just like shaming people for stuff, it's just like, yeah, that's definitely not the way to reach a person.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I mean, you're not really taught how to reach a person, but it's more like trying to that human connection, that interaction that you were trying to search for at Oneonta. Like, that's what you need to reach that person, to actually change their views and stuff like that. But some people are just they're too ignorant to change. You know, they're like, oh, I've done this for years. Like,
and
why?
and that's again, like, that's fine. Like, and we could still sit here and we could still love that person, although we don't agree with them. And everyone is on their own journey and on their own path, and they have their own timeline of, you know, of opening up and expanding. But yeah,
It's tough. Yeah, it's definitely tough. So when you all right, I want to go back to the question because I always do this. We always get off track.
always do it. What was the question?
Well, it's your thing. How to get out of your own way. I feel like when you're in your own way, it's all like the ego.
Oh yeah. I'm like, so like,
This is probably like the 6th week in a row that I've talked about the ego. But I think the ego is really what, like, you have to overcome at this point. Have you had an ego death? Because I've heard people have ego deaths before with, like, psychedelics or just, like, even meditation and stuff like that. And I've never experienced that. And I've always wondered, like, what really is an ego death?
So, I was actually just in India, and we did a 5-day silent retreat.
Yeah.
And towards the end,
Wait, silent? Like,
so
5 days? Just
yeah,
no talking?
it was beautiful. Like, I cannot wait to be in more silence.
What? As a
like,
person who loves to talk.
Yeah. But so funny. No, but like, it wasn't like a silent retreat. Like, everyone looks down and like we're all like, meh. Like, it was like we're silent, but like we're smiling at each other. We're still giving each other hugs and like, you know, it just, you're there. But so anyways, the whole 5 days, like, you know, we're meditating in the morning, we're chanting. My teachers are teaching us different meditation techniques, and it was amazing. And then towards the end, like right around the time we break silence, they start talking about the ego, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is the ego? Like, because I'm like, it's funny because I feel like I've never really dove deep into that realm of things, because like, it's also like that word's thrown around a lot. And so I was like, wait, like I raised my hand. I'm like, I'm just so confused. Like, we didn't talk about the ego at all. And now after silence, I'm like, eh. But pretty much like my teacher explained it as like, the ego is pretty much and forgive me if this is like jumbled because I still don't really have answers to it. But like my teacher explained it as like the story of you, like the Jess story, the Nick story, like the dramas of your life and like the everything like kind of happening like but then he also said I'm trying to think. Oh, I actually opened up the conversation and to be like, oh, okay, I get the ego. Like one day someone came to my yoga class and they were like, yeah, that class was so good. And then this other person was like kind of dissing me, and she was like, where's that other teacher that usually teaches? And like just kind of negative. So it was like polar opposites. But at the end of the day, like they were both like I'm here just like watching, and it was like one extreme to the next, like like bruise to my ego. Yeah. Even if it's positive or negative, it's like still ego, and it's like, okay, so how do we come back into the soul?
Yeah. Okay. So no, you definitely hit it on point with that. The ego is it's basically like who you put yourself as. Like Nick, I'm not Nick. My spirit is my spirit. I'm a being. I'm not Nick. Nick is just my name. It's like a name tag. And like what you were saying with how one person told you it was awesome, one person told you like your ego went straight up when they were like, oh, that was an awesome class.
Yeah.
You got so excited.
Yeah.
But then the other person was like, oh, where's the other teacher? And your ego just shot down. And it's so strange because like when now as you realize that as you go when you get older and you have more experiences, when you get excited for stuff, you're like, would I get excited for this for any other reason besides my ego? And it's just like, oh shit, like should I even get super excited about this? Like, can I control my excitement about this? Because it's just right now, like in 20 minutes from now, it's not even gonna matter. So it's just like, it's mind-boggling, the ego, because you're not the ego, and your ego's always telling you other shit. Like, when you're talking to yourself in your mind, it's not really you. It's just all these thoughts that your ego's provoking. Like, when you have, like Joe Rogan explained it amazingly. He was like, everything comes in and out, just like your thoughts too. Like, you breathe in and out, your thoughts come in and out. Thoughts just randomly come into your mind and then just go away. So, like, that's just your ego just coming in and, like, being like, oh, what do I think about this? What do I think about my future right now? Like, and then it just goes away 5 minutes later, and you don't even remember what you were thinking about. But it comes back that next day, and that next day, and that next day, and then it just keeps going on and on and on.
But I find, like, the ego is, like, I think it's definitely, it's so important. Like, we need the ego, and it's important because it's like a form of protection.
Yeah, it was our survival instinct.
Exactly. So, like, that's why I feel like I still have to, like, go and explore and, like, go deeper.
What, your ego?
With, like, yeah, with my own, but, like, the meaning of it, the essence of it, and just explore more, because I could see when it goes from one extreme to the next, and, like, and yeah, that's all the ego. And I'm like, okay, so how could I stay in the middle, and how could I stay grounded and just kind of watch the play happen? Just be like,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's part of the work, That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I love about this, because, like, even just you coming on, like, it's such a different perspective than literally everybody else that I've had on so far. Especially that you just went on a 5-day silence retreat. How is that? I have so many questions about that.
I didn't want to come out of silence. Let's put it that way. I was like, wait, we're breaking silence? Like, what? I'm just not ready for this. Like, so it was amazing. We were traveling. I was in India for about 15 days, and we were traveling the first half, which I'm very proud of myself, because we drove a lot, and we were just doing so much, and so many temples, hiking. It was beautiful. And then towards the end, we went to, it's called Madhuban Farms, and we started out, like, the first day, they told us, like, what silence gonna be like. We could write questions and give it to our teacher, and it was beautiful. We were together, like, 3 or 4 sits, like, to meditate, to talk, to connect.
And how'd you talk if you were in silence?
Well, technically, they were talking to us, and then we were only writing questions to the teachers. And then when we broke silence, we had, like the girls split and the guys split, and we kind of interacted with the teachers and just talked about, okay, so what's coming up for you, and how are you feeling, and it was funny. Like, all the girls were all just like, talking about, like, all our meditations had to deal with, like, sexual energy, and just, like, because, like, because when you're silent, like, everything, like, all your senses are more extreme.
They're enlightened.
Yeah, like you're, because you're not using your voice. So now everything, like, your sight, your hearing, your touch, like, inside, whatever's circulating within you. And like, so it was interesting. So everything's, like, heightened. So all the girls are all, like, everyone's just saying that their sexual energy is just so high, and then
just from not speaking.
I think it was just, like, I mean, maybe, but I think it's also, like, it's we were doing a lot of healing work too, and I feel like the womb, or our low belly, is, like, a space of just like, that's our space of power, and there's just and I'm still learning so much about this stuff, but I feel like and we're also in India, it's, like, high vibe, like, lots of Shakti, and so I feel like it makes sense that majority of the girls there were, like, speaking about some sort of sexual dream or meditation, or
that's so cool.
It's so cool.
So when you first started the actual silence, how long did it take you to be like, okay, I'm comfortable?
I was pretty comfortable because I feel like I actually didn't really feel like I was in silence because, because the mind is so loud sometimes. But when I do retreats or like when I go away, I try and contain myself. Like I'll talk to people, and depending on my mood, like I'll talk to people, but I try and like stay focused on like the work and what's being offered and not talk so much, because like even now I could feel myself getting like so hyped up because I'm talking. And then that feeds like more talking, like more doing, and then I gotta go run around the block or something, like it's like.
So you feel like you were just a lot more calm.
Yeah, I was a lot more rooted. Like I was a lot more calm and rooted, and there was actually a point where I was like, okay, I kind of need to work out. Like I was like, I need to do more yoga. Like we did that awesome like dance like offering, and just like dance like wild, and it was guided, so it was just like releasing a lot of shit about like like one thing my teacher said, and then I'll let you talk.
Go ahead. No, please, talk as much as you want.
My teacher was like, we're doing this whole like dance ritual, just like we gave offerings to the altar, and it was like this really primal kind of dance offering. And the one thing that he said that got me was like, we were walking around and he was like, just they didn't even know you. Like talking about all the past shit, like who you are then, like those people didn't even know you, like it, like I don't, it's saying it now, like
you could reinvent yourself. That's what he's trying to like get at, right?
I feel like he's also like, when you're with someone or like you're with friends or with like, and they're you're not really showing like the truest part of yourself because it's vulnerable, but he was just saying like when they saw you then, they didn't even know you. So it was like, oh my god, like like I was just like mind blown. But like from that point I was just like, that broke it. So I was just like crying, and then I was just like, and I was dealing with so much like trusting myself and like being able to like support myself and like grow up. And it's like, because I'm 26, it's like kind of like a like a pivot
in your life.
Exactly. So I was just like doing all these I was like jumping up and down like 100 times, like and to the point where I was like I was laughing and then I wanted to cry, but it was like so good. Like that's why like fitness and working out, I feel like is so important.
I've definitely felt a little bit under the weather the past few days, and like when I feel like shit, I just work out as hard as I can, and like I feel so much better. It's so weird. But when you were in that state of mind of like what you just explained, do you feel like you were in your own way or no?
No, in that at those times, no.
Felt very present.
Yeah, super present.
Maybe that's your problem. Maybe you're just talking too much.
Amen. No, I that's so funny you telling me that. No, I even said like I want to have one day of silence a week.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's hard. This is what I'm working on too, is trying to find the balance of connecting and disconnecting, because sharing these experiences, connecting with people, and also like working from online, it's almost like, if you're not present there, no one's gonna know what you're offering. And getting people to come to classes and events and then booking healing sessions.
So annoying.
You know what I mean? Like there's like a balance. Like I love it, and then some days I'm like, fuck. So
that's exactly how I feel. Like I hate social media. Like if I could just delete Instagram, I would. Like if I could, I definitely would. Because I hate going on looking at other people's lives and liking their pictures and shit like that. Like, hey, if I like you and I hang out with you, you're gonna show me the shit. So like,
yeah, totally.
I'm not gonna scroll. Like my friend David, he deleted his Instagram, he deleted his Twitter, and he's like, I feel awesome. Like I don't waste my time. I read a lot more because I actually read a lot on Twitter, but now I'm like, oh, I don't have Twitter to read, and I'm not going online to just read articles, so I'm going to just open up my book and just start reading from there.
What does he do for work?
He just works at the liquor store.
Okay, so like that's the difference. Like, you know, if you have just a regular job,
Yeah.
like it's easier to be disconnected. So, yeah. So like, you know, you probably work from your phone too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Every single day, like I gotta text somebody for like,
confirm your clients.
Yeah, confirm my clients. You know, I'm always trying to look for new things, for new exercises online and stuff like that. So I'm constantly like going on my phone, like checking things and stuff like that. Even with the podcast now I have to be on my laptop a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's like a balance. Like that's like just
Yeah.
finding like the middle ground. with it.
Yeah, and that's honestly my problem right now. Like if I had to work on something, it's still the balance. Like even though like taking in and giving out information is something I'm working on, like it's even like every aspect of my life. Like I'm trying to balance out even with working out. Like I felt like I was going super hard at first and then I went too easy on myself. And now I'm like some days I'm going super hard, some days I'm not, and like it's a good balance. Even eating too, like like it's just so hard. Like even like people are always like, oh, you gotta live a little, like you're 20 years old, and like I love to eat.
Wait, you're only 20?
Yeah, I'm only
Get
20.
the fuck You're like, I'm like talking to you, I feel like you're my age.
Yeah, I know. Age is weird. Like I don't know. I feel like if I just connect with a person, I just connect with them.
Yeah, totally.
Like I don't even think about it.
That's so funny.
A lot of people do say that though, just because of like what I do. So like people who take my class, they'll be like, "Oh, you're mad young. What are you, like 23 or something?" I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
nah.
Dan's 23, so I actually thought you were around that age, 22 or something.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
That's funny.
But it's cool. I mean, like even other people are like, "Oh, what are you, like 19, 20?" So like some people.
I get young.
You get
young
young
remarks.
You do, yeah. You do.
What are you, 50?
Wow.
No,
that's
like,
rough.
no, I used to get like, very young ages. I mean, I still probably like 17, 18. But it's good. When I'm 40, I look like I'm 25.
That's what I'm saying. Like when most people complain, they're like, "Oh, I hate looking younger." I'm like,
you know what it is? I think like, this is like, I think what bothers me. And this comes back to like having that like sense of self and like grounded and trusting within yourself is people mistake me for being naive and immature. And I think that's like a soft spot for me because I've experienced a lot, I've been through a lot, and just because of like the way that I look, or because I do like to have fun and explore being like, connecting with my inner child and playing and dancing. But I feel like people look at that like, you're immature, you need to get your shit together. And then like, I've been called naive, and like that really got me. And like, yeah, I definitely think like I can be naive, but it's because I love everyone, and I want to, you want
to have that optimistic point of everybody.
Yeah, and like, and thankfully I've never been through like, anything too traumatic where my heart has hardened, and it's like hard to like trust and look at people. Yeah, that's
the worst. I see a lot of people like that. A lot of people just naturally they get fucked over by one person, and then everyone else of them is just dead.
And then that's when their heart starts to like,
they're like, oh, do I trust? Do I not trust?
And it's hard because like, that's why I feel for people, because everyone's been through their own stuff. And
well, my philosophy is I'll trust you right away, but if you do something that goes against my trust, then I won't trust you anymore. So like, just give the person a chance. They might have fucked 3 million people over before that, but maybe they're changing. Who knows? And
that's good.
5 years later, they're like, okay, you know what? I need to really just put my foot down and start making progress with myself. And obviously, if everyone knows that they're a person that nobody trusts, it's hard for them to even start.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's where you got to give the people. And, like, people are
Benefits,
like, oh,
yeah.
you got to be open-minded about stuff. But they don't want to, like, do that for people. They don't want to say, oh, I'm going to be open-minded and I'm going to see if they could actually improve. Because improving in your life is, honestly, I think that's the main point that everyone should always be doing. If you're always improving, you're always going to get better at stuff, and you're never going to stay stagnant. So
You're
if
growing.
you're always growing as a person. So to start trusting people, like, just trust them right away. And then it's the same thing for yourself. Like, trust yourself right away. Once you go against that trust, you're like, all right, like, now I can't trust myself. Let's start from scratch one. Like, let's go back to the beginning. All right, now I got to trust myself again. Oh, I fucked myself over. All right, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I
like that.
that's kind of like how I think of it. And, you know, that's why, like, I look at people and I'm like, what do you mean you can't trust them? Like, you don't know.
Well, I think also, that's true. That's true. But I think it also, yeah. I'm like thinking of a situation, and I'm like, okay, not gonna go there. but yeah, this is all good stuff.
I feel you. Yeah, it's it's just really different perspectives. You just got to keep listening to them. That's how I think I'll grow a lot more, just by even just like reading things and listening to people on YouTube. Like, just your problems right now, that's what I would do. I would just even, like, think about it, like, even like, you want to keep your silence going, and it's super hard because, like, you need to think out loud sometimes, especially with, like, work and stuff like that. So, like, you should take, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours out on, like, one specific day every week. Like, it could always change and stuff like that. So your mind and your body is always questioning, like, when it's going to happen, and then go from there. And, like, you know, always make sure you have that, because it feels like it really made a great impact on yourself.
Yeah. It's like I'm like, I want more.
Yeah, you want more. I'm craving it.
I was just listening to someone talk about how they did 3 years. 3 years is a very long time.
Silence?
I don't know if it was silent. I'm pretty sure it was silence, but like it was like I think Buddhist meditation. But you would sit for like meditation for like 3 or 4 times a day, but they would be 3-hour sits. And I'm like, I fucking love that.
That's
but I'm
tough.
like, 3 years, like that's a long time. But like, even so, like, yeah. I mean, let's stick to 10 days of silence, you know, Vipassana.
Yeah.
If I want to go there. But for now, I'm here, I'm working, and then I just, you know.
Have you ever done it before this? Like, silence?
To be honest, no. What we've done in the past is like, which I love and I do on my retreats too, and I'm gonna like enforce it a little bit more, was like before, when you go to bed, like, you know, the last class is like what, 9 o'clock. From then on, it's silent until breakfast or until after breakfast. So it's nice. So then you go back to the room and like, you're not, my teacher calls it spitting the medicine. You're not like talking about everything and then you're wired and then you can't go to sleep. It's like you go in and you keep that, all the teachings, all the peace that you've just created, you keep that, go to sleep with it, dream about it, wake up, and it's like quiet morning. Because I don't like to talk in the morning, really. Some days I'll be like, some days I'll be more rambunctious than others, but like, I don't want to be bothered. Like, I want to just chill.
I feel you, yeah. What happens though if you want to do that? Like, if somebody calls you, what do you do?
I'm still working on the logistics of it.
That's
I was
the
gonna
hard
do
part.
it. What day is it? Today's Thursday. I was actually I'm shooting for a Wednesday. I'm debating on like doing like I think 5 hours would be a great idea, but I would like to just shut my phone off completely. Like, let my mom know, and then like anyone that's like super important, just let them know what I'm doing, and then be like, I'll reach out to you first thing Thursday morning.
It would be great
so that
if
I
we
could
had something.
Don't have to.
Yeah, it would be great if we had something that you could just like put on your phone. Like, hey, if this person calls me, just be like, I'm
meditating.
Like, you know how.
Well, no, but at the same time, it's like that's the whole point of like shutting down, and it's like letting it be okay that you can't be reached.
Yeah.
So and that's something to even be okay with. Like, oh my God, someone's wants to reach me. And it's like, nope. What happens if I didn't have my phone? What happens if I, like, think about the times when people didn't have their phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's rewiring yourself to be like.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Like, I can, but I don't know. I'm just, yeah, it's so weird because I'm so connected to my phone that, like, it's not a good thing at all. Like,
Well, that's something to check in with. And, also to check in with and, like, see, like, can I set my, like, better boundaries for myself? Because that's what it comes down to, too.
Yeah.
I find, at least. And, like, organize, like, if you have clients and you have to confirm with them the night before, like, see where there's one day where you're not doing too much and you don't have to talk to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just hard because my boss randomly calls me.
Oh,
so that's the problem.
Well, that is.
Yeah.
Well, that's something where you kind of have to leave your phone on.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feels like anymore.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. It's really just like my boss will just call me. He'll be like, hey, like, how's the classes? Like, what's up? What's going on? Stuff like that. And I'll just talk, and I'm like, like, I was trying not to look at my phone, but, like, I know that, like, randomly he'll text me or call me, and he'll be like, hey, like, give me a call when you get a chance, like, as soon as possible.
Well, maybe you could let him know
what
you're doing, and just be like, if you need me, call Danielle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
just in case, like, if my mom needs me, she knows she could come to the house and come in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very simple like that. But yeah, he's actually the person who got me into meditation to, like, really get me into, like, my mind and body and stuff like that. So he'd probably be open. It was actually really funny. The first time that I actually went into work, I was doing, like, the front desk, just learning everything because it was, like, my first or second day. And he just came back from a retreat, a meditation retreat. I was like, who the fuck is this guy going to a meditation retreat? What is he doing with his life? And then, like, 5 months later, he got me starting to meditate. And I was like, oh, this shit's actually mad cool. Like, who knew? But anyway, we only have, so we're 45 minutes in. And I know you wanted to do a little meditation.
Yes.
So it's all yours.
All right, sweet.
I'm excited because I've never done this before. So.
All right, it's cool. So you're going to meditate. I don't know if you want to hold the mic or not.
I guess not. I don't need to talk.
Alrighty. So wherever you are, if you're driving, you could just kind of listen and breathe and keep your eyes open and be aware. But if you're sitting or if you're doing something, see if you could take a moment to stop and just find a comfortable seat and sit on the floor cross-legged or on the edge of a chair with your feet planted. And allow your palms to face up, resting in your lap. And then connect to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And we'll take a big deep breath in through our nose and exhale out of our mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale fully. Exhale your mouth. The next one, make the exhale a little bit louder. Breathe in all the way. Good. And then begin to soften your body. You don't have to worry so much about your posture here. Maybe a slight lift in the heart. But a softness in the face. Softness in your lips. In your eyelids. Your forehead. Allow your upper back, front of your heart, back of your heart to soften. And just follow your breath here. You can breathe in and out of your nose. Or if you feel like you still want to release, take a breath out of your mouth. then check in with your fingertips. Are you holding on? Are you gripping? See if you can wiggle your fingertips and soften them. And then just scan your body. As you breathe in, where does the breath start? Where does it stop? And then bring your attention to your low belly. And allow your breath to start there, to pull there and travel its way up through your chest into your throat, and then exhale. So start small. Focus on the belly, breathe it in, expand through your entire torso, exhale. So you want to try and get the breath into your heart. So softness here, slow breaths in, a slow breath out, and really feel your body relaxing on that exhale, like it's kind of releasing or shaking something off. Follow your breath, softness in your body. And then take note as you breathe in, where does your breath stop? Are you able to get a full breath in past your heart, into your throat? Or does it stop? Where does it stop? Or where does it feel like there's like more tension? And maybe put your hand on this spot. And then come back to softening your entire body. Let go of expectations of yourself, or any judgment arising. And allow the breath to pull at the low belly and rise up into your hand, wherever that might be. Let's get the breath to flow freely. Take a big breath in through your nose, exhale out of your mouth. And let's check in with the mind. What's your mind saying? Where has your mind brought you? Can you zoom out in this moment and just see your thoughts? Be the person, or be the part of you that's seeing your thoughts, known as the witness. And this part of you is beyond your feelings, your emotions, the dramas of your life. That witness is your soul. The part of you that's always shining. The part of you that is love at its core. That is filled with joy and happiness. And maybe you went to follow one of your thoughts. Maybe it's a little hard to be the witness right now. Just take a moment to come back to your breath, and on your exhale, remind yourself where you are and what you're doing. So I am sitting here recording a podcast and leading a meditation in this room. And say that to yourself, where you are and what you're doing. This brings you back into this present moment. Full deep breath in. Breathe it out. Just take a few minutes of silence. And your only job to do here is really just to sit, to breathe, see how much of a witness you can become, and watch what's happening within your body, within your mind. Use an exhale out of your mouth to clear something. And begin to bring yourself back. Breathing into your entire body. Exhaling. Start to wiggle your fingers. Become aware of how your body feels now versus when we started. And then take your arms up over your head. Give your body a nice big stretch like you're waking up, and breathe in. Maybe make some noise. And then come on to rest your hands in your lap, and feel free to stay meditating, or you could open your eyes and just enjoy the waves of peace within you. Thank you all.
That was awesome. I don't know. I felt so like present in my body. Like when you were talking about the mind, like you were like just go into your mind. It was so weird. Like I just pictured myself literally like inside my head, just like so it was just like empty though. That was the cool thing.
Because you're like
I'm just there.
Because sometimes you could just check in that quick, and other times it's way harder.
And like I had nothing that I was thinking about. I was just like super present. Like I was really listening in. Like it was dope. That was cool. Now I don't have to meditate. I got my meditation out of the way. That's awesome.
Check.
All right, Jess. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you for the meditation at the end too. Hopefully people stuck around, or even if you skip to the end, it doesn't even matter. As long as people listen to it, it was awesome. So thanks again for coming on. Definitely have you on again. We were just scratching the surface. I feel like we could talk for like hours.
Oh my God, so many things. But we could reconnect with these questions, and I'll see where I'm at down the road.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, totally.
Well, anyway, thanks again, and we'll have you on again in the future.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Nick.